it's been a good day. I wanted to talk about a couple things. A couple things kind of surfaced into my mind today, especially on kind of just being a little bit more present, but also just kind of like navigating the world around me, especially as I go about a transitional period between like work, home, not transitional period, but in terms of just like getting home, right? Transportation portion of it. It's very apparent that there are a lot of people that kind of dive into their own world, either to de-stress from work, connect with friends or family that they can't really talk to at work as well. But sometimes they're also just, kind of mindlessly scrolling. I think that's a big issue in this world, and I think I fall victim to it currently. But it's something that I'm working on, right? It's something that I think everybody does a little bit, unless you're actually creating. So the whole point of me actually kind of creating here and being able to share my thoughts, opinions, and how I view the world around me as well, really just will shift me into being more creative rather than less, and being less consumptive. But from what I had noticed is that there's always been a time in society in which the previous generation or current generation with new technology or new consumptive media has been implemented. And I'm trying to get to a point to be able to have more of a connection portion to each other, and have those social skills built in order to kind of further along anything professional, personal, just connection in general. Like, we are a social species. We are meant to connect. We are meant to share stories. Going back to even just like, even in the olden days, they always passed on stories. Everyone huddled together to talk about, stories, legends, myths. That's how we all consume it. But now this is just another type of story. So when I say this, I hope I don't become in terms more, what is it called, hypocritical, especially since I'm creating and sharing a story. But my intention is to really just be able to be here, share, just from my perspective, and hopefully it resonates with someone out there. But there's always been some sort of distraction, or people haven't been as societally collaborative. I think it also depends on where and when. If it's certain countries, if it's certain areas within the country, it's even just time periods as well, right? Like, some people had access to certain things, some people don't. But from just what I've seen, at least in the United States portion of it, it's like it's always been something new, right? If it was not the newspaper, it was like television. If it's not television, then there was phones in general, and then now there's just more advanced phones rather than just like the texting, calling the sidekicks or the Blackberries. It's really, I might be dating myself here, but in terms of being able to kind of share and connect, I think it's been a very big change in society so very fast. Everything's been exponential, and I would say the past 50 years it has been doing so. So it's enough to develop and kind of grow at a faster rate. But then it becomes like, what point does it become too fast, right? When is it the time where everyone gets to take a step back, gets to realize and kind of readjust, maybe their dopamine cycle as well. But honestly, it's even the fear of missing out. Now there's just so much happening at the same time. Everything's so new. And if you miss out for 1 second, I had the dichotomy today where I was like, all right, let me not be on my phone. But realistically, sometimes if I'm not on my phone, I'm not catching up. Someone's always getting ahead too. And it's really just more of the personal aspect in which, how do I navigate the world in being able to be present, be able to calm within myself? How do I feel? and where do I want to go, where do I want to grow into, and how to grow into, but also setting up certain systems in which I'll receive information, in which I will be able to connect with others, further along my professional career, and really just be able to kind of continue and grow. So, but what I also see is that there are also always, missed opportunities to connect. So maybe not a fear of missing out in terms of like the connection portion of it, but it's really got to be like, people kind of come into your world when you don't really expect them to. There's a lot of friends that I've met that just happened on a whim, and now I've been friends with them for years now, and sometimes we don't even see each other. I haven't seen a couple friends of mine maybe 4 to 5 years, but the connection's still there, right? And the use of technology also helps that as well. But I think it's really just more that personal foundation that we built when we first got connected. It really resonated throughout our entire like relationship as friends, which is really cool to see. And you don't have to be friends with everybody, but even just being friendly, right? Like saying hi to the MBTA guy, right, and making his day, asking his name, or maybe her name as well, right? Mine just happened to be a guy at the same time, but it's the tiny things. When you think you're getting a coffee, when you see the hot dog guy in the corner saying hi to him, making his day, right? Some people don't really know what others are going through, and that's okay. It's not really a responsibility to kind of take on to yourself, but some small act of kindness can kind of go a long way. It's really just more of being able to be more human, if that makes sense. And I know I said this was going to be kind of like more of a vlog channel. Sometimes I'll be out and about, but I like at least for the get up, I wanted to kind of start in having a good pattern here, to share that. So don't worry if it's like, oh, you're back in the same chair again. Like, this will probably be a good hub for me to share my thoughts. I really find a lot of thoughts kind of lingering and flowing as I'm walking, as I'm commuting back home, as I'm even just going about hanging out with friends. It's really just more of here I'm able to kind of collect everything, and there are certain moments in time where I'm able to stop and maybe I'll share a couple things too. So feel free to kind of keep along there. But lastly, the really important thing that I've been really trying to understand is my purpose, right? I think everyone has kind of a purpose that they want to follow, not something that there is a purpose for you to, you have to live by, that someone else kind of told you to do. Maybe you kind of grew up and, kind of got led into an industry, led into a job, and then you kind of like feel that societal pressure, personal pressure, familial pressure. And it's really all in your mind, right? Like there's a lot of things that live within ourself, that is we experience in different ways, and you can have very different experiences as long as you shift your mindset on what's going on around you, right? There are moments in which there's a lot of bad times sometimes, and I don't think it's ever bad, right? I think there's always good that's going to come out of it. Good and bad are literally they're the same side. They're not even like opposite ends of the coin. They're on the same coin. I feel like they're on the same side, right? It's really like a marble effect. Maybe I just coined that term. Hopefully it's not a license to say that, but it's got the like yin yang with it. There's so many other variations of it as well. But being able to kind of enjoy those moments and understand that I may be going through a tough moment right now, and maybe there isn't anything that I can do, and that could be a mindset portion, but there's always people to reach out to ask for help. I think a lot of times where we always feel so kind of isolated especially within your own mind, your own thoughts. It's tough to share that with others. And it's really like, will they even understand me? Can they understand me? Right? And me even putting my thoughts out here as well. Maybe others have known me in a different sense. I think everybody has different variations of who they are, how they act around certain people, how do they want to be perceived, and they really start thinking all that, but it all happens subconsciously, right? So it really just kind of comes back to you, right? And just once you understand that all these different variations are you, you really encompass it all, right? So this is another version of me, and I hope I've come off as best as I can, but these are my personal thoughts and how I want to share. So realistically, talking to my future self, talking to others. But if you guys want to again follow along, that's really cool as well. I hope you take some value out of it. But lastly, it's really just more of the fact that when you're having these moments and you're taking a moment to breathe and sitting with them, being present and understanding the emotional aspect is important. The logistical aspect is important. How do you best go about it, right? It's very difficult to do so if you have not built the skill. Now, you can go and get help, and you can have tiny things to do, and these skills compound, right? You start to understand yourself in a different way. Some people, go to therapy. Some people hang out with friends. Anything that you do in terms of being able to de-stress is really, really important. And I think the rise of technology and the rise of FOMO, comparison, it's gotten so aggressive that it just came upon us. So now I'm talking to next generation. It's going to be difficult, but I don't want you to fear that. You don't grow if there aren't any challenges, and you can't change your perspective if you have not lived through either another viewpoint, right? I think I mentioned perspectives in the last video, so if you haven't seen that one, go watch that one. But these tiny skills compound for life, right? They compound for yourself. They compound to how you connect with others, and even helping others, right? We all love to help each other, and in some way, shape, or form. Even if you're an introvert, you also want the feeling to be helped too. Everyone in this world, I feel, has just wanted to be secure in some sense of the word. Financially secure, emotionally secure, just safe in general, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but there's always stuff going on, right? So it's just, how do you navigate that? How do you navigate to reach out? Do you have somebody you can, reach out to, whether it's a mentor, whether it's family, whether it's friends, that you can actually share your experience and understand that it's okay to reach out for help. And it's great to really be able to provide that for others. There's always a self-rewardance, and even in certain religions, it's a reward to even help others, right? Maybe it's selfish, but being so selfless in a sense, it not only is just for yourself, but it helps others, and it really just brings back the good in the world. Because the world's tough. World's tough, but it's always in a good sense, right? There's certain areas where it's tough, and certain areas where it's good. But it's all subjective too. It's a mindset thing, dude. It's the biggest thing that I've found, and being grateful for what I've gone through, what people have gone through. Being able to connect with others on that as well. The more you share your story, the more others can share theirs. The more perspectives are exchanged. More lessons somebody learns. That's why you learn. You honestly learn when you teach. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Be able to teach through my experience and through skills that I've learned, books that I've read, podcasts that I've listened to, and really just be able to share what it is I've been able to take away. Because if you hear a different experience, you might be able to, view the world in a positive sense, in a different sense. Maybe it is a negative sense, right? But don't succumb to just being so comparative, right? I think ultimately, if you can sit with yourself, you can be present, you can understand where you want to go, and you have a purpose and the next steps on what you want to do, I think it really does help on the day to day, and it really does help shape a year over year, month over month and day after day, and then you're just living your life. And that, I think, there's more to it, right? But happiness is a big word that there's never really, maybe there's a dictionary entry on what it actually means, but it's so subjective. So I wouldn't want to chase happiness. I think that's, there's always sadness that comes with it as well. So emotions are fleeting, but I think once you know who you are and you're able to be comfortable with that, I think it's a great thing. So that's my tidbit for the day. I hope you guys took some value out of that. And if you didn't, let me know. But, if not, I hope to see you guys soon. I'm going to just keep ramping on here. And it's going to be a good thing. So you'll get some more insight on, what it is I do on a daily basis, topics that I like to touch on, what are my activities. But, ultimately it's going to be different perspectives of me. So hopefully it changes and, it's impactful in some way. But if not, this is always here. So feel free to use this as a resource and always watch it back. But overall, be present, be grateful, just be yourself and just share that. And I think that's beautiful. So see you guys in the next one, and I'll talk to you soon.